What do you think is the distinction or the difference between FinOps for AI and AI for FinOps? And which of these two excites you the most? Like, what's your preferred part from these?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think AI is probably going to be like the word of the decade, not only of the year, like with the pace that things are going right now. And I think both FinOps for AI and AI for FinOps are super interesting topics. So FinOps for AI, I think it's really in the early days of that. So that means like companies using AI both, for example, when developing and then like creating new code using AI, but also using AI services. So for example, using OpenAI or Anthropic or AWS Bedrock and all of those services, and also training their own models. And that's becoming more and more of a big issue for companies and a big spend. And if you're looking at, let's say, the forecasts of companies like AWS or GCP or Azure, then you definitely see that people are predicted to spend a lot more on that. So it makes a lot of sense that FinOps will take care of that. And on the other hand, AI for FinOps is completely different. So it's not about doing FinOps on more things, but it's about completely changing the way we're doing FinOps. Because like in the same way, AI has been a revolution for example, writing code, or generally in across many of the SaaS platform industries that we're in, I think in FinOps it's going to be a drastic change as well. And we're starting to seeing it happening even today. So that means completely changing and augmenting the workflows that we're currently doing to automate them a lot more using AI. But it also means understanding what we can do more, what used to be impossible, but now becomes possible through the usage of AI, and how that can enable FinOps team to be even more central within companies and push for much more effective resources. So between the two, we tend to think, and me personally, but both Pelano at large, that AI for FinOps should be what we're tackling right now, and not FinOps for AI. I think mainly because currently, like if we're looking at 2025, most companies are still experimenting with AI, and I think it means a lot about the place of FinOps within there. Both that there isn't necessarily a lot of spend yet, but also that that spend isn't really thought of as something that should be properly managed right now, because even leadership thinks about that as like, let's understand what's working more and working less, and let's find out like if we can get more market capture through doing those things. And that's not like a good point in time to try to like for the FinOps team to get involved. And we see a lot of people like having issues when they're trying to push their leadership on that too much. But I think even more interestingly, it's because the pricing models are not really set yet. So that means that the way people will use AI in 2 years is probably going to be very different than how they use AI currently. So the way they are paying for things, the reservation models, if they're going to train it or use open source models or use SaaS models, and if it's going to be like one company or a bunch of companies. And I think that means that trying to like create a process out of it too much is going to be incredibly difficult right now for many FinOps team. So at least our opinion is that we should wait a bit for things to be a bit more stable. And in the meantime, we can focus on changing a lot of other things with AI and making the current work that people do way more effective.